Auburn just beat Texas A&M 13-10, and my biggest takeaway from this game is just how proud I am of Coach Cadillac. I mean, he just won. He broke a 5-game losing streak for Auburn, and two, he got his first win as the interim head coach for Auburn, and it happened at home at Jordan Hare when all his friends came back to support him. And I just think that's incredible for him. Happy for him. His energy on the sidelines is infectious, and honestly, what we needed to get us through the rest of this season, because the way it started was pitiful overall. And he's just really come in and injected a lot of positivity, a lot of energy, and a lot of what we needed as a fan base and as a team. And looking at this is my instant reaction if I didn't say that already. Looking at some key plays from the game or some key moments, the things that really stuck with me, it seemed like overall our running game was really good. I don't know what the stats are, I can't remember, but both Jarquez Hunter and Tank Bigsby had a really good game. I know there was one point in the game where Jarquez Hunter had 3 runs in a row of like 15 plus yards. It was like 15, 16, and 18 yards right in a row. Then you had Tank Bigsby had a couple of big plays as well. He had that 39-yard run. So overall, they just had a hard time stopping the run game. Unfortunately, we could not convert that into very many points. We only ended up with 13, but it was enough to get the win. As far as the passing game goes, we struggled. We had Robbie Ashford had one good pass to Javarius Johnson that sticks in my mind because that was a touchdown pass for 16 yards. But overall, our passing game it struggled a lot. I have no idea what the yardage was. Honestly, never looked at the stats this game. I'll look at them later. But for the most part, what I tried to do during this game was just enjoy it. It was, it was okay. It was okay. My biggest takeaway is I'm just happy for the team. I'm happy for Cadillac. And it was, it's good to get a win, especially when you've lost 5 in a row. So, ultimately what's going to come from this is people are going to start talking about the head coaching position. And I'm already seeing this on message boards. I'm seeing this on like Facebook and social media platforms. Everybody needs to chill out on the talk about Coach Cadillac being the permanent head coach for Auburn. I get where you're coming from, and the petitions are cute. I get it. But I don't think it's going to happen. And so I think you're setting yourself up for some disappointment. It's nice. It's nice for Cadillac to hear this and all that. But at the same time, do you really want his first big head coaching job to be at Auburn when he hasn't even been an offensive coordinator yet? He's not been a coordinator. He's a running backs coach. Now he's an interim head coach, and that's great. But he's only been a coach for 2 years. And I don't want him to be set up for failure. Because what's going to happen in 2 years if, because he's not had that experience, we're not doing as well? Do you really want Coach Cadillac getting fired? I don't. I want him to have time. I want him to get the resources he needs. I want him to get the help he needs. I want him to be surrounded by the guys that he needs to be surrounded by to do a good job. And I just don't think now is the time for Coach Cadillac to be the permanent coach at Auburn. I'm not saying that he will never be the coach at Auburn. I'm just saying right now. Right now, what Auburn needs is a big splash hire. Whether you like it or not, Auburn needs a splash hire. And so you're going to see a bunch of names pop up again and continue to be talked about. Hugh Freeze, Lane Kiffin, Deion Sanders, Dan Lanning, who just lost to Washington. Oregon just lost to Washington, if you didn't see that. And then Matt Rule. Not a fan. I don't want to see Matt Rule as the head coach at Auburn. I'm just going to put it out there. I've said it multiple times. I don't want to see it, so stop talking about Matt Rule. But the other guys, there's no way to know. Hugh Freeze, he's got some problems. Lane Kiffin's got some problems. Deion Sanders hasn't been at a big program yet, so that is what it is. Could any of them be successful? Absolutely. Are any of them guaranteed to be successful at Auburn? No, none of them are guaranteed. So it's a risk no matter what. And you just have to decide, if you're the AD, you have to decide what's worth taking a risk on, or who's it worth taking a risk with. And I think this thing will be wrapped up hopefully by after the Iron Bowl, I would imagine, but it's going to depend on what's happening in other places, other teams. I don't know what I was saying. Now, if you're hoping for Lane Kiffin, I think the possibility of him becoming the coach at Auburn just got higher. They just lost to Alabama today, so the odds that he's going to be freed up to be hired just went a lot higher, because now the SEC championship is decided. It's going to be LSU versus Georgia. So Ole Miss will not be in the SEC championship. Hugh Freeze, he's available anytime. He's just waiting on the call. Deion Sanders, I guess he's probably in the same boat for the most part. Because he's at a smaller school, he's going to be available if he wants to be available and if Auburn wants him. Dan Lanning suddenly became available again because he was the number 6 team and he just lost to the number 25 team. So I think all options are on the table. As far as a timeline, I think by the time we get to December, early December, we will know who the next head coach at Auburn will be. Is Cadillac in the running? I think they're going to give him a look. I don't know how serious that look will be, but I think he will get a look, and they will be fair with him. But at the same time, I don't want them to set him up for failure, because that's not fair to anybody. I kind of veered off. I started off with an instant reaction, and then I veered into the coaching talk. That's ultimately what's going to happen in the media anyway, so I just wanted to go ahead and talk about that. But overall, this game, a win's a win. It wasn't pretty the whole game, but we had some pretty moments. But, I'm pretty happy with it. And breaking a 5-game losing streak, like I said, that's always going to be a positive in my book. And also, Jimbo lost. So anytime Jimbo loses, that's a pretty good thing. I mean, who hates that? I know I don't. So Jimbo losing, and now he's 3-7, I believe, 3-7, and they're stuck with him with a $90+ million contract. Good grief. I think 10 years, $90 million. That's a long time to have a coach that you don't want. And I don't see them buying him out anytime soon, because who can afford that? Who can afford $90 million to buy out a coach, or whatever his buyout might be at this point? But anyway, getting back to the original point, I think we're in good shape at Auburn. We now have 4 wins. We're not going to be bowl eligible more than likely, because that would mean we get a victory over Alabama. However, if you've been watching Alabama, they look pretty beatable. So who knows? We could beat Western Kentucky. We could beat Alabama, and we could see ourselves in a bowl game. That would be a little crazy, but wilder things have happened on the Plains. Thank you guys for watching this one. That's all I've got today. Hit the like button, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.